Hey, all, so glad you're here. It has been such a learning week for me. And I'll have you know, this work that I do, it teaches me something every week. And this week was definitely far and beyond what I had expected as far as allowing emotions and what I learned this week. And so I want to share what I learned with you because I figured some things out finally. And I think this will be really helpful for everyone because I do think that the work that I teach is the mental work of the model, which is your thoughts create your feelings, and then the actions and results in your life follow. And I think most people, that's very easy to understand and to try to start to do. But everyone that I talk to about allowing emotions hasn't done it. And I bet with all the podcasts that I have actually done on allowing feelings, I'm guessing that a ton of you haven't even done it. So I am trying to figure out why. Why, if it's half the work, and I know it is, and I know it's this important, I know it's the cause of so many of our problems, why is no one doing it? Even when I teach you and I tell you how to do it, the only ones who actually do it are right in front of me as I'm coaching them. I basically force them to do this work, and then they're like, oh, when a light goes on. So maybe you just have to coach people to help them to, and I did too. Like I got coached the first time that I allowed for emotion, but I was asking several people, like my husband, my sister, my very close friends. Okay, I've taught them all this repeatedly. I mean, some of these people for 5 years straight. I'm like, so have you done it? No. And these are the responses I got. I really don't think I need to do it, was one of them. I mean, maybe I do, maybe I don't. The other one was it's too scary. Like I don't want to go to those deep dark places. It's really scary. And the third one was don't know how. So I have to go over these today. I'm going to try to break this down into bite-sized pieces so that it is something that feels doable. And that I really think, like so many things, it's so simple that we complicate it, right? We make it way more difficult and more complicated than it actually is. And then it seems too hard. Okay. So the first one is I don't think I need to do it. Maybe I do, but I don't know if I really do. I think maybe people are thinking, I don't have this huge traumatic event in my life that I feel like I need to go back and try to allow emotions for. So I don't really need to feel emotions. So if we break it into bite sized pieces, basically 50% of the time in your life, you're going to feel negative emotion: angry, sad, grief, upset, hurt, all of those. Okay. The other half of the time, we're going to feel joy, happiness, peace, hope, love, right? That is our human experience. So that means that we all need to learn how to feel emotions. And if we don't, it ends up spilling out in different areas of our lives, either through buffering, doing things we don't want to do that have a net negative in our life, or reacting to people less than ideally, or maybe treating our bodies not as well as we should. There are so many things that filter into our lives when we don't allow our negative emotions. Positive, awesome. I love positive emotions because you can try to create positive emotions from your thoughts. So that's the best part of the work. Like you can start creating the life you want, right? But this other side, if you don't allow the emotions, it filters into every area of your life. So recently I was talking to a friend and her daughter's pretty abusive to her. And she said, I don't handle her well. My husband always grabs the phone and he handles her better. And I'm like, why do you think that was? And she said, because my dad treated me the same way my daughter is, and they both have a bipolar disorder. And so because she didn't deal with her father's things prior, the feelings that she had when he was yelling and screaming at her, she can't process the problems that her daughter's having as well as her husband can, because he didn't have to go through what she did growing up, the trauma. But what I think is the most important thing to teach you is that everyone needs to feel emotions, but we can just do it with our easiest emotions first. We don't have to go to when our dad was super abusive to us when we were young to try to start learning how to do this. So the very first emotion I ever did was anxiety. It wasn't the trauma of my something horrible in my past. I just tried to do anxiety. And the very first thing you do is just name it. What am I feeling right now? Because so many of us, this was another thing that my friends told me. So many of us were basically taught growing up that when we allow emotion, we're weak. That is our generation. That's what we were taught. If we cry, if we get angry, if we have any negative emotion, we're weak. So that's one of the biggest problems is that we were taught that growing up. But this is how I want to teach it. Find your emotion that you most feel during the day. I have a person I'm coaching right now who said, daily, I feel disappointment in myself. I said, that's where you start. Start with just, you've now recognized you feel disappointed in yourself every day. Then the next step is observe it. It's in your body somewhere. Don't go to your head and different thoughts that are making you feel that way, make you feel disappointed in yourself. Well, I'm disappointed in myself because I always procrastinate. And I disappointed myself because I didn't do well on that test. And I didn't do, no, that's going straight back to mental work, thought work. That's your mental health. We're sticking with emotions. That's a whole different plane. Here's mental health over here and emotional health over here. Emotional health, you have to go to your body to access your emotions. You have to figure out where is it manifesting in my body. I know this sounds woo-woo and out there, but it is absolutely crucial to emotional health. Figure out where it is. So anxiety for me was in my stomach. And I, to this day, still have this underlying little bit of anxiety going on all day, every day. I was literally born with chronic anxiety, I'm pretty sure. But it's completely relieved because I've done this work. And what I started to do was notice I was having anxiety. Then I would observe it in my body. Oh, it's like a bunch of worms that are black that are going really fast. And then it moves up and goes into my throat. And when it's really bad, I feel like I can hardly breathe. That's how bad anxiety could get for me. But I didn't even know I had anxiety till I started doing this feeling work. And I realized I'm anxious a lot of the time. And it was for the dumbest reasons. Like I'd realize I was on my way and I was 5 minutes late to a lesson my kids had that we were paying for. And I would realize my body was in literally fight, flight, freeze mode. I mean, I was ramped up with those worms almost up to my throat from being 5 minutes late to a guitar lesson, right? And I just started to notice it and realize, wow, look what my body is. Oh, this must be really hard on my body to feel this way a lot of the time over really dumb things like being late. And so I just started to really notice what was going on for me as far as anxiety. So if yours is disappointment in yourself all day long, if yours is anxiety, if yours is maybe sadness, if yours is um what what do you have like on the daily? A lot of people it might feel depressed, you know. Depression's usually caused from things in the past that have happened. Anxiety always resides in the future. So you may be in one of those spots a lot of the day, but start to just recognize the most prevalent emotion and then just start to notice it. Just do that this week. Take little teeny bite-sized pieces of learning how to feel emotion instead of being like, I'm not disappointed. I'm fine. I did something today and trying to change your thoughts and just switch them around really fast so you can feel better. Actually sit with disappointment. You know, I am disappointed. I didn't do the thing I wanted to do. I do this every day. And then observing it is just seeing where it is in your body. W is wait. Just wait. Wait and watch it. See what it does. When you allow this emotion, you name it, you observe it, and you watch it. That's now. If you do that, you have just allowed emotion. It's that easy. That's it. Just go acknowledge it that it's there. And I love to say, N and then own, like own your emotions, because the N is name it, but I like to do observe, wait and watch, and nurture it. Like validate it. Say, of course, I feel stressed out. I've gotten really huge problems with people or situations when I was late before that I never want to experience that again. And so my body, because of my mind and my brain and my history and my experience in my life, does not want to be late. And it thinks a lion's chasing after me and is literally going to eat me if I'm late to this guitar lesson. But guess what, body? Now that I know this is anxiety and I know it's residing in my stomach and what it does, when I observe you, you start to calm down and lessen. And I get to this place in my head like, oh, we're just late to a guitar lesson and I'm feeling it and watching it. And it's okay. Nobody's dying here. We're going to be all right. And I can take it down a notch. And you guys, this work is so important. I've had very close friends who literally had an ambulance in their driveway because of pain in their stomach, because they had so much anxiety and they didn't know it. And as soon as we did this work of feeling anxiety or feeling sad or feeling anxiety, all the physical symptoms went away. So is this a big deal? It's a really big deal. People who've done this work quit over drinking, quit overeating, quit overworking because they figure out, oh, if I just allow my emotion, I don't have to do all these other things that are messing my life up. There are people who seem to have it all together, but all of a sudden they blow and they do things that cause the dynamics in their family to change forever because they lose it so badly and hurt people so badly. Guess what they've been doing their whole lives? Repressing, stuffing, rejecting the emotion, and they don't even understand what is happening when they completely lose it. And guess why they lost it? They were never taught to just allow their emotion every time it comes up, allow that disappointment, allow that anxiety, allow that sadness over whatever your mind is offering you, and sit with it. And then wait, and it will dissipate. And that's how you heal from any emotion. And once you can feel any emotion in the world and you know it's not going to kill you to do it, you know it's going to be okay to allow any emotion. It's the worst thing you'll ever feel. And if you can feel the worst thing you'll ever feel, there's nothing to be scared of anymore. So a lot of people have said it's too scary. What if you're in a black tunnel over this trauma experience or whatever it was, and you'll never get out? You'll just sit in numb, which is putting your healing on pause in that tunnel for the rest of your life until you choose to go to the end of that tunnel. You make your way slowly by allowing emotion. And usually for something traumatic, it's you're on this side of the tunnel in the dark and you have to inch your way forward out of the tunnel. So you'll feel that intense anguish or intense betrayal or intense whatever it is multiple times before you start to resolve it. And once you resolve it, guess what the best news is? It's gone. You can't access that because I've done this work. You can't access that emotion anymore. And in life coach school, they teach you that when you feel emotion, that you heal it. And so tons of people do it in a secular setting. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in, they're atheist and they just know it works, but they don't give credit to anyone. But me, I give credit to Jesus Christ. I feel like when you heal from your feelings, when you give, that's what casting your burden on the Lord, that's how you do it. There's actually a way to do it. And the way that we cast our burdens on the Lord is we get to the end of that tunnel after we've felt the emotion, as long as we need to, as long as it takes, and go back to that whenever ready to try to heal it again. It slowly gets easier and easier and easier. And when you get to the end of the tunnel on that other side in the light, you can cast your burdens on the Lord. You can hand him the trauma, the betrayal, the anything you felt, and he takes it from you. I believe. I mean, people in life coach school believe they've healed it themselves. they also don't believe that God created their bodies. I believe that God created my body, that I didn't create my body. And so just because they don't believe that Christ didn't heal them, I believe he did. I believe he's all light, all love, all healing. And so I think that even if they don't know it, Christ is taking their burden from them. So those are my thoughts on feeling emotions, healing emotions. I would tell everyone, break it down into way smaller. Do the most common, easy emotion. Like you're frustrated at your husband all the time, all day long. You're frustrated at your kids arguing and fighting and not doing their homework. And what is your most prevalent emotion you're feeling often throughout the day? And instead of pushing it down, being like, I shouldn't be mad that the kids are fighting right now. I shouldn't be upset with my husband. What is wrong with me? Be like, of course I'm frustrated. This is why, because of this that happened, the history I have in my brain and my and everything that makes up me. Of course I'm frustrated. Validate it, understand it, be kind to it. That's the nurturing. That's the part that's missing in so much this work. Really validate yourself. Say, of course I feel this way, but I'm just going to see this through and heal it. And so, and each time I'm willing to do it, this with an emotion, it's just like thought work. It gets easier, it becomes second nature. It's not such a difficult thing to do anymore. I got to the point where I was feeling anxiety and I had to play the piano in front of a bunch of people. And I got up. I'd been doing anxiety as I'm sitting there in, my meeting, my church meeting, just allowing it, going, oh yeah, this is anxiety because I have to play the piano. And last time one of my uh papers blew off because the air conditioning came on and like I lost an entire page of the music with everyone listening. And it wasn't, it caused me a ton of anxiety. So of course I'd feel anxiety. That's because a page fell off last time and a bunch of people were watching and I felt embarrassed and I felt like I let the people down that were singing and I didn't see that coming. And of course I'd feel anxious because of my history and my brain and my feelings last time. But I can just actually sit with anxiety this time. Anxiety just resides in the future. It's just whatever you think might happen again makes you anxious, or what might happen, or what your brain is catastrophizing might be. And instead, you can just be, oh, this is anxiety. I'm just going to sit with it. And when I got up to go play the piano, I tried to access anxiety and it was gone. It was gone. I couldn't even find it. I looked, it was not in my stomach. It was incredible. But guess what? Anxiety for me is actually, since then, I've tried a bunch of times to do the same. Like, I don't want to be able to access anxiety ever again, but it's this low-lying emotion in my life. I think it's chronic, and I don't think it's necessarily going to go away, maybe forever for me, but it's so much more manageable. I'm not having these physical symptoms of like making myself nauseous or sweaty or my tense, all these things that start affecting you physically and can literally start making you sick health-wise. You don't have to be in that level of fight, flight, craziness. You can just calm it down, take it down a few notches, and it can keep going down notches until, for me, anxiety's there, but I'm like, oh, hey, anxiety, there you are. Like, it's not a big deal anymore. I don't see it possibly affecting my health, um, or messing up my life, or having reactions towards people when I'm anxious that I used to hate. Like, for instance, when we would have to get ready to go to the airport and none of the kids are ready, and I am just snapping at everyone and yelling and freaking out and like, we're going to miss our flight. And I just don't do that anymore. I just remind myself, hey, they're the worms. There they are. They're ramping up. This is anxiety. Calm down. It's not worth it to react in ways you don't want to react because you don't want to allow emotion. Just sit with anxiety and it will just, everything will follow in your life when you start doing this work. It will filter into everything. You'll become more of who you want to be. So hopefully, I'm just hoping that this time, you guys, some of you will actually text me or make a comment that you are starting to try to allow your emotions bite sized, like little steps at a time. Instead of going to the most traumatic experience you've ever had in your life and trying to feel that emotion, let's just start with day to day. What's going on for you? Just start allowing emotion in way less stressful, trauma inducing situations. And then it will get easier to do everything else. My last thought is at this point in my life, you guys know I have my 7 things that I do every single morning that give me, I think, the very best mental, emotional, and spiritual health for my life. And then after I do those 7 things, I go and I exercise. So I'm hitting all 4, which I think are emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical things that we need to take care of, or we will spiral in some area of our lives. So I do the 7 things. And then I have to say that sometimes for revelation, which is my 7th thing that I do, I will ask Heavenly Father, I will say, can you remind me something that was something I need to heal emotionally from? That maybe even I forgave someone or I changed in some way, like how I was thinking. So my mental health is good around it. But I don't think I processed the emotions from that. And I don't think I can heal entirely in my entire life until I do. And he will tell me, and he'll remind me of stuff I can't even remember. And that's part of the emotional work is that I'll say, okay, I'm just going to sit with what was I feeling when that happened? I'm just going to sit with embarrassment right now over that. I'm just going to feel it through and I'm going to be done with that, where I don't even have to ever think about it again. It never has to come back to haunt me in any way, shape, or form. It's done. Isn't that awesome? Don't you want to access that? It is so freeing. It's as freeing as thought work in changing how you feel about things because you just change how you think. It is an amazing skill. And if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for your kids because we were done a huge disservice in being told that feeling our emotions was weak growing up. It made us all whack jobs now that we're our age. And so we really need to help our kids so that they know when they feel emotions that it's okay, that you're going to feel every range of them, all the way from horrible someday and scared and all the things to amazing. And it's all good and it's all okay. And it's all part of being a human in this mortal life. Okay, guys, seek and expect miracles. Try to do a little bit of this work this week. Please comment or text me if you did. I will be so proud of you. I will throw a party. So, anyway, we will catch you next time. And thanks for being here.